Hey y'all, grown black folks talk back out on the climb where I did not intend to be on this beautiful silver day, but oh well, the extra walking will do me good. Of broken black men and evasive maneuvers. On Friday at 1:30 Pacific, 2:30 Mountain, 3:30 Central, and 4:30 Eastern, the Confidence Beloved and I will be sitting down and doing our whole War Aunties for the week, and we'll be talking about a bunch of things that have been happening, and then what black women really need to do for the new year in terms of getting ready to remove ourselves from constantly being the subjects of broken black men foolery. Not all black men. I specified who I meant. So I know that any conversation like this always leads to a great number of hit dogs hollering, as the saying goes. It's just like every black man feels threatened. If you're not broken and you're not inclined to violence, of course this doesn't apply to you. And if you're not giving tacit approval to your brethren in the hopes that someday they will give coverage to you, this doesn't apply to you. So let me just put that out there right away. Today, I was taking my walk, and I was actually thinking to myself on the way into the park, I used to have walking partners. Sergeant Love was among them, and those were good days in my life, and I've had good walking partners since. But I do enjoy my time alone because that is my peace time. However, being the daughter of my father, a veteran, I have learned to keep my head on a swivel, even in peaceful places. Now, Sergeant Love taught me that in general, people who choose to come to peaceful places are seeking peace. And so you don't have as many incidents in large parks as you would in other places in the world. Now, Sergeant Love also a veteran. However, there's always going to be an exception to the rule. As I was approaching one of my usual places to sit and make videos before turning around, I heard someone yelling 2-3 blocks, a good block off, even with all the street noise. This is a very angry man, and in San Francisco there are sets of these. We do have a lot of people who are homeless here, and you know, it's tough to be on the street and realize that because you have no money that you can't do anything for yourself. You have become what Karl Marx called the lumpen proletariat. It is no profit for the state or private industry to do anything for you except for you to die and get out of the way. That can make anybody upset. I got that. But of these, there are no men more upset than the sons and grandsons of black men that at one time owned most of the houses in this whole district, which was the Panhandle up to, say, Fillmore. Even the houses that people come to visit in San Francisco were owned by black men, and the reason that they are so unique is that each man paneled his house a little bit differently to please his wife so that no one had the same thing. Those were owned by black men. A lot of this. And these houses would be worth $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, some of them by now. Their fathers lost it all. I was here to see what the money was spent on. Crack cocaine. I was here to see what Senator Joe Biden and District Attorney Kamala Harris was doing to their fathers and some of their younger grandfathers. And I was here to see what the neighborhood associations were doing and what gang injunctions were doing to get black people associated with those men out of here. But I wasn't. So I'm here. I'm here. And I have witnessed incidents where black men have gone out of their way to let it be known that they are frustrated that I'm here and have a place here and they don't. It's amazing how this wind always picks up ominously at the right time. It had rained earlier today. There may be a shower or two left, so we're going to see how long we're going to be able to sit here. But today, from a block and a half, even with the car noise off, and my eye caught on a shrunken, shriveled, aging gentleman, black. I see him in the park sometimes. He's at least 60. He could be 50 if he used himself harshly. But you can kind of see the bone structure beginning to go, the stooping, the caving in starting. And once he was in view, I could see his mouth moving, and he was the one yelling and screaming. So here I am, the only black woman in the vicinity in the park. I'm behind him some distance. He hasn't seen me. F her A, F her A, F her A. And I'm like, I know what happened. Just like the worker bees put the drone bees out of the nest in the autumn about this time of year because they have not spread the company, they have not done their purpose well enough. They have not gone out and spread the colony's genes by finding a new queen and therefore starting a new beehive. Just as they have not done that, although they don't get to live in the hive, but that's their purpose. If they haven't done it by a certain time in the autumn, they get left out to starve or freeze. Drones get put out. Well, after a while, a man who will not work and provide will eventually face that same fate. Mokomami presented figures that are a little aged, so I have to look it up. 46% of homeless men in the country are black men. And they go to the street when the last woman is tired of them. That's what happens. So as he was coming down talking about F her A, I thought to myself, well, you're going to the park bench. She's not here. So you're going to the park bench and it's going to be raining tonight. She's wherever she is. I'm a block behind you. Evasive maneuvers. Evasive maneuvers. Being conscious and having your head on a swivel is very important. So, evasive maneuvers. Fortunately, I'm pretty fast on these sticks now. And I'm in pretty good shape. So I have about another half mile between him and me at this point, provided he's still on the bench. He never saw me because I went way, way, way around into the trees and got distance from him. So he never did see me. But I could still hear him more than 3/4 of a block away. He was still talking to the air in the hearing of God about what he wanted done to that woman. Conquered, defeated, done. Nothing left but his rage. I was not about to be around that. Evasive maneuvers. Now, I've got both hiking poles, and I thought out what I would have done had he approached me. So I'll wind him around my hands, keep him at distance, and with the other hand, strong punch. I'm also slowly working my way toward calling 9mm 380. Confidence with love keeps telling us we need to do that. And circumstances keep convincing even a woman like me. But see, evasive maneuvers keep you from having to change your life. Taking your life is no small matter. As a highly responsible person, I don't approach even getting ready for that lightly. But I would always choose evasive maneuvers if possible. So it was good that I could see him and hear him from a long way off. But see, this is the thing. Confidence with Love and I are going to be talking to y'all, although not in quite these terms, of making evasive maneuvers around broken men. Now, black men are not the only broken men in the country. Whole goo gobs of them out there still worried about an election that's almost 4 years gone now, or 3 years as of, actually last Tuesday. 3 years as of last Tuesday, gone. Having fixed their hopes on a 77-year-old man who is planning to use the Department of Justice to get revenge on his enemies as he runs for his 3rd term. He said that today for president. Number one, he was only in office for 1 term, but the other thing is Constitution says counting says you gotta do your 2nd term before you do the 3rd. Forget the Constitution saying you can't do 3 terms. But first we have to count. So these broken, defeated men who realize that their clinging to white privilege is not going to get them anywhere are hoping that somehow their old messiah can get that 2nd and then 3rd term and suddenly turn the country back to the white supremacist paradise that he wants. A lot of these broken men will be looking for black women if it happens to occur that Letitia James, Madam D.A. Letitia James in New York, Madam D.A. Fonnie Willis in Georgia, and Judge Tanya Chutkan have a strong role to play in having put an end to President Donald John Trump's 2024 aspirations to be president, which they may well have, because you cannot be pardoned by an estate conviction. And that's what Madam D.A. Fani Willis in Georgia, being backed up by Republican Governor Brian Kemp, who remembers full well how Donald Trump tried to make a fool of him, is looking to do. And Donald Trump's friends are flipping on him left and right. So, there's that. There are more broken men than black men. But the difference about black men is white men have a system to work with that they think they can get away with anything in. They can do certain things, and they have the complexion for the protection because the founders were white and set it up for white men. Not for them, by the way, for landowning white men like themselves. That's why Donald Trump, who is a property owner, is proving so hard to deal with. The system is supposed to accord men like him all rights. So it's very, very difficult to rein him in, no matter what he chooses to do. But these less capitalistically endowed broken white men are still white. So they still have a level of white privilege. Black men have been beat down by that white privilege. And unless they have humbled themselves to really learn what they need to do as men to make it in this society, unless they can come up out of trying to feel their way, in other words, trying to perform their way into what they think is manhood, modeled on slave owners. Unless older men like Yada Awakening, which I have to correct, I did correct it in the description, but I couldn't correct it on the video, get a hold of younger men and show them how to be powerful men in a way that uplifts the community. Unless they start listening to the Beneficial Black Man and Tony Gaskins and R.C. Blakes and some others, which I'll put in the description, and really learn what it is to be a steward of the universe underneath the Most High God. Now, we're going to have arguments about the definition, and people will tell you that Islam and the Nation of Islam together both get very good results because there's discipline. There's at least a level of spiritual discipline. I, of course, speak for the Most High God as revealed in Jesus Christ. I have to put out that note. So I realize we're going to have arguments about the identity, but a man needs to develop spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, in addition to physically. But if these men do not do that, they will continue to be conquered. And then as black women do evasive maneuvers, they will have no way to step up external to themselves. External to themselves. God is only external to those who have rejected him. Because the Bible is very clear that anybody who is a Christian has as much of the Holy Spirit living on the inside of them, working with their spirit as anyone else. So only if you have rejected God is he external to you. So all solutions are indeed to be found within. It just depends on what kind of resources do you have in there. But any idea that any mortal or created thing is there for you to be chattel and that's how you're going to make it. For broken black men, the assumption that black women are going to do it is going to continue to be kicked away. Going to continue to be kicked away. It saddens me to think of these men sitting up ideating about how they have plans to force black women back to do this and that. You know, somebody only has to go show up in a blue uniform and make up a reason. You can be forced into heaven or hell just that quick. And we've just started convicting those men who do those sort of things, and the women that do those sort of things, in the past 3 years. You're going to force what now? But the other thing is, if we see you from far enough off, evasive maneuvers. Keke Palmer went and got sole custody, ex parte, and also a restraining order, ex parte. She has enough money to hire enough security to kill Darius Jackson on sight. Increasingly, black women are going to find ways to make evasive maneuvers. Those of us that understand that our lives have value and we have everything to gain from doing that. Now, I was very careful to limit this. I said broken black men. I would like to see these broken men healed, but healed and whole black men will have to do the work. And in my circle, Pastor Evasive McNeil and Deacon George Durand. Deacon George Durand runs the men's mentoring movement. He's the president. And he works in conjunction with my church. So we work with men healing. Pastor Evasive McNeil is deeply involved. So prison ministry, re-entry ministry, all those things. I applaud all of it. I want to see black men healed. But the burden cannot be put on black women because, you just minding your own self business and you have to heal FRA. And since that woman is not out there in front of him, who would be next? Well, you don't know if he would have done that. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know that he wouldn't have. The black femicide numbers are up to almost 6 times a day now. Black men are out there killing each other 25 times a day, and we've now got up to almost 6 black women a day. Kid, you think anybody can take chances like that? No. Because what you have to do is make evasive maneuvers. Now, I was fair. I didn't just avoid him because he was black. He let me know who he was. He announced it on his way. And I could tell what happened from the way he was attired or not attired. I could tell that this man has lived a life not being ready for the conditions. And some black woman who has a little bit more than he does and more power and more control of resources than he does got tired of him and sent him to the bench. But like I said, he told me who he was before he got there. I didn't just evade him because he was black. I passed a lot of black men today. But they were doing what they were doing. I was doing what I was doing. I smiled and moved right on. It's not bigotry to respond accordingly. I do not intend in 2024 to have men in my life who are bringing confusion and a lack of peace. Nope. Nope. People in general. But see, a man will get into a position he's not supposed to be in, and then because he has nothing to lose, stay in it. But to stay in it, he's got 3 hots and a cot out there. Nope. I don't discriminate based on race. I discriminate based on what is your spirit telling me. If your introduction to me is FRA, nope, you will be evaded. And I will be out here talking about seizing the crypto bull run. So you have a 4-year opportunity now to be able to get yourself some evasive maneuvers money. And then Confidence with Love and I will be talking about a good bunch of this, a couple of things that you can get out there and you can do on Friday at 1:30. But because of this unpleasant incident, and I report on these incidents when they happen, it's not often that I have incidents like this, but there are just a few stragglers who gentrification missed. And they are very unhappy that black women did better in gentrification than they did. Well, different choices, different outcomes. Different choices of men to be around, different outcomes. See, my father wasn't going to have it. So I was not allowed. My sister was not allowed. And then when we were old enough to look around, we were able to choose based on a higher standard. And their fathers and grandfathers simply did not provide them that, unfortunately. But that's no black woman's fault. This is a problem black men have to solve for themselves. We cannot do it. It is unsafe for us to even be associated with the foolery. Now, if he was falling to the ground and foaming at the mouth and sick, I would have stayed an appropriate distance away, but I would have definitely called the appropriate authorities. That's a little bit different. You look at a human being, we don't want anybody to have to die unnecessarily, of course. But you're just out here, voice strong enough to carry a block and a half, just being mad at somebody you can't even get at, and I'm a black woman coming up behind you. Nope, evasive maneuvers. Nope, got to go. Got to go. So, I'm sitting out here with the sedges today, further from home than I intended to be, but it's time for me to head back. I wish I had a more happy subject to share with you today, but I don't. It is a beautiful autumn day, though. A beautiful silver autumn day. It rained last night just a little bit. All the plants have refreshed, and fortunately, that pollen is down just a little. These fall allergies are kicking my tail, but I'm still out here making things happen in terms of my exercise, getting ready for a different kind of life that I'm already living in. For those of you who watch my Sunday video, I am communicating and worshiping internationally now. Just having conversations with people in 3 different languages this morning. Google Translate is a magnificent tool. And grown-up German is a whole lot harder. I got so much stuff to do with that, and in Spanish is a whole nother set of issues. But I'm having conversations due to the tools that we have now in multiple different languages with people across the world about all kinds of different wonderful things. And again, not thinking Not thinking about letting broken people with nothing but drama and trauma and foolery to bring into my life. Nope, don't have to do that. Not planning on doing it. Anyway, y'all have a good day now. I gotta get back to the house and get these collard greens on and get on with the rest of the day. Bye. Thank you for listening.